The Buffalo Bills improved to 4-1 after dismantling the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're breaking down the latest Buffalo Bills victory today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino from the Draft Network, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. I want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day. And as a reminder to you, we are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Today's episode of Locked On Bills is presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 38-3 and improve to 4-1. I had a major question for the Buffalo Bills entering this game. I brought it up on Crossover Thursday, and it was, who is going to step up? And as we start this conversation, focusing in on the offensive side of the football, we got answers. We got answers. I called into question the weapons around Josh Allen coming into this game without Isaiah McKenzie, without Jamison Crowder, without Jake Kumaro, without Dawson Knox, with Gabriel Davis really lumbering through the last couple of games with the ankle injury. Who was going to step up? We got a big-time answer on Sunday afternoon. Khalil Shakir stepped up. Isaiah Hodgins stepped up. Quentin Morris stepped up. James Cook stepped up. The offensive line stepped up. I love that. So the first thing that I like as we get into this game, we're going to focus on the offense to start. Then we'll get into defense. Then we'll talk about things I didn't like, reflect on my predictions, and then, of course, set the stage for what's next for the podcast and the Bills. But the first thing that I liked with this game for the Bills offense is the people that stepped up when the Bills really needed it. How about that Josh Allen guy? 20 of 31, 424 yards passing, 4 touchdowns and an interception, passer rating of 134.1, 5 rushes for 42 yards. I mean, he did this in what, 2.5 quarters? I know he played about 3 quarters, but we're talking, let's call it 3 quarters. 3 quarters. New career high in yards per attempt, 13.7. 4 passing touchdowns, ties his career high. 424 passing yards is the most ever in regulation by a Bills quarterback. And then after his 98-yard touchdown pass, Josh Allen passed Peyton Manning for the 4th most total touchdowns in a player's first 5 NFL seasons. That's good company to be in. And we are in the first quarter of Josh Allen's 5th NFL season. Love so much about Josh Allen in this game. I love the trust that he showed. Obviously, the 2 bombs to Gabe Davis, one of them 3rd and 10 from your own 2. Wind is in your face. And you're worried about having to punt the football there with the wind in your face, giving Pittsburgh a short field to start the game. Josh Allen dials up a bomb to Gabriel Davis, 98-yard touchdown. You get a touchdown instead of a short field for Pittsburgh. What a big shift right there. Obviously, the other touchdown to Gabe is 60-something yards in the air. Trusting your guy to go get the football. I love that trust. I love the trust that he showed in Khalil Shakir to make some plays on the football. Confidence looking to Quentin Morris. Josh Allen did the thing we talked about doing in our keys to the game in terms of being aggressive. And being aggressive in this game allowed the Bills to get a lead and help their defense, which was very shorthanded. We'll talk about the defense later on, but you're without Tremaine Edmonds. You're without Jordan Poyer. You needed to get yourself in a position where you had a lead and force the Pittsburgh Steelers with their rookie quarterback to keep up with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen said, bet, keep up with this. Touchdown after touchdown. And there was some meat left on the bone. We'll get to that. But this was the style of game the Bills needed on Sunday to really not give Pittsburgh a chance, right? And that was led by their starting quarterback, of course, Josh Allen. Thought his weapons played really well. Obviously, Gabriel Davis, 3 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, made the big plays, right? And the big plays were missing from this offense over the last 2 weeks as he tried to play through the ankle injury. I guess really you could say the last 3 weeks. It was missing. You can see what a healthy, and I'm not even sure he's healthy, but you can see what type of impact Gabriel Davis has on this offense. That element is huge. Love that. Stephon Diggs, he made his plays, 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. Just workman-like day, right? 8 catches, 102, and a touchdown. Probably should have had another touchdown. We'll get to that later on. But wide receiver 1 coming in and being wide receiver 1. Khalil Shakir getting his real first opportunity to be a part of the game plan. 3 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. He did have a drop, but the moment wasn't too big for him. Stepped in, made plays. Josh showed a ton of confidence in him on that seam route, that 31-yard completion. Little seam shot, had a little soft spot in the defense. Understood that linebacker had his back to him. Khalil goes up and gets a football. That's big time. Isaiah Hodgins stepping in, 4 catches, 41 yards. Quentin Morris stepping in, 3 catches, 39 yards. These guys stepped up around Josh Allen. And that's how you're able to hang 38 points in 3 quarters. With, let's face it, 2 touchdowns left on the board. Everybody proved to be reliable, and Josh Allen showed off his chemistry with a ton of guys. No Crowder, no McKenzie, no Kumaro, no Knox, no problem for Josh Allen. These guys stepped up. And how good was it to see Gabriel Davis making the big plays we know he can make? Huge. How about the run game? I thought it showed some signs of life against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Devin Singletary, 6 for 42. Devin's just a very steady player. You know what you're going to get. Maximizes his touches. He's just a professional runner. James Cook, 4 rushes for 31 yards and a touchdown. Thought that was good for his confidence. Thought he had only touched the ball 4 times. I thought 2 of his carries were really good. And that was encouraging to see. And you love that he scored the touchdown. He jumps into the stands. You know, I think he needed to connect, right? You know that he's a piece of this offense that can matter a lot. And I've been critical of his performance to this point because it was deserved, right? He didn't look comfortable with the football. He didn't look like a guy that was ready to help the team. Well, for this game, he came in, and I thought 2 of his 4 touches were really outstanding. Zach Moss came in, had a 7-yard rush. Maybe could have been a little bit longer, but you're not going to complain about 7-yard rushes. So all 3 of your top running backs, Singletary, Cook, Moss, average more than 7 yards per carry. And this wasn't a game where they were super relied upon in the passing game like they'd been in the past. I think that's kind of a Gabe Davis effect to an extent, and how he kind of loosens up the defense with his presence. But they came in and made the most of their touches. I thought it showed some signs of life. And so I'll give some credit here to the offensive line. I thought the run blocking was good for the most part. You still had a few L's from time to time. Mostly, I would say, in the middle three that I can tell from the live watch. Obviously, the All-22 will reveal more, but I thought the run blocking was good. I thought they did a good job of using the athleticism of the offensive line and seeing some longer pulls, particularly Mitch Morse getting out in space and leading off tackle. Led to some nice plays. The pass blocking was tremendous in this game. And so for as critical as you may want to be about the Bills' run blocking, the pass blocking has been phenomenal, and it was exceptional against Pittsburgh. 36 dropbacks for the Buffalo Bills quarterbacks. No sacks, one quarterback hit. That's it. That's it. You're going to have a lot of success throwing the football when you get that type of pass protection. And then I just think this offense in general, they got out of some tough spots. They made some explosive plays. They found efficiency at times when they needed it. They displayed dominance, and I loved the aggressiveness. You're talking 38 points, 552 total yards. You're 5 of 9 on third down. You average over 10 yards per play, and that includes 2 kneel downs. That's an outstanding day at the office, especially when you consider that you basically didn't do anything in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's 3 quarters worth of work. That is phenomenal, and you're going to win a lot of football games if you're able to repeat performances like that. And the Bills have now repeated that performance like 3 times, right? Rams game, Titans game, Steelers game, not all that different. This team is dangerous, and they didn't even have their full complement of weapons. I hope you've been getting in on the action over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is my favorite daily fantasy resource. How does it work? You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they will go score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. And they have tons of sports, obviously football, but they have baseball, tennis, boxing, disc golf, you name it, you can find it. And entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. So if you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Just don't forget to use our promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. All right, so we talked a lot about offense there and things that I liked. Now let's get into some of the things on defense that I liked. And I want to go back to the exact same question that I started with on the offensive segment. And it's who is going to step up. No Tremaine Edmonds, no Jordan Poyer in this game. And that doesn't even get into the Christian Benfords and the Micah Hydes and the Trey Whites. You're without your starting inside linebacker and your game-changing all-pro safety. Jaquan Johnson, Tyrell Dotson, that's who's going to step up. They went in there and were part of a defensive effort that held the Pittsburgh Steelers to 3 points. 3 points. And I think the Bills did 4 things particularly well on defense. Number 1, they took Najee Harris out of the game. You know that's their first-round running back from just 1 year ago. They like to lean on him. They want him to be the focal point. They want to run it with him. They want to throw it to him. And they want him to shoulder the load for the offense, especially in Kenny Pickett's first NFL start. Well, Najee Harris had 11 carries for 20 yards. I don't think he caught a pass. And the Bills did not give Pittsburgh any sense of belief that they could rely on the guy they want to rely on. Took Najee Harris out of the game, just like they did Derrick Henry. So number one, I love that in this type of game with these circumstances, the Bills said, all right, Najee Harris ain't going to be the reason why you have success on offense. Number two, I love how the Bills defense kept battling in the secondary. They kept battling. And Pittsburgh did a very good job of moving the pocket for Kenny Pickett and isolating receivers for him to get the ball to, just like we talked about. I said this was going to be a type of game where they're going to try to isolate their receivers that are very good at the catch point with size and ball skills and give them chances to make plays on the ball. And you have a confident quarterback with good accuracy in Kenny Pickett to kind of maximize those skill sets. And let's face it, I mean, he found a ton of completions, 34 completions on 52 attempts, 327 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. But I thought the Bills' defense, especially when you consider who they have in the secondary, did a very good job of limiting the production. 52 passing attempts, 34 completions, 327 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. There's some good volume stats there. But you can look at those numbers and they tell a story. They tell a story about how they were forced to throw the ball a lot, had a modest amount of production. They didn't get in the end zone throwing the football. And you're talking 34 completions for 327 yards. They did a very good job of making tackles, staying leveraged, and dared them to keep doing it. Say, hey, look, you're going to win this game. If you're going to have success on offense, you better keep doing that, and you got to finish in the red zone. I thought the Bills did a great job, like I said here, of just battling in the secondary. And how about Kaiir Elam? He gave up some completions. There's no question about it. George Pickens is a nice young player. Deontay Johnson's a nice player. But he kept battling, and he came away with the interception I thought he would in this game. Stay leveraged. Play the next play. You're a rookie, right? You don't let that get to you. You play the next play. And Kaiir Elam survived, right? And I hate to kind of use that word survive, but that was the type of game. He played the style of game he had to. They were isolating receivers. They were throwing at him. You're going to give up some stuff. But you also came away with a big game-changing play on the ball. I like how he competed in this game as part of exactly what I'm trying to communicate here, as this Bills secondary just kept battling. And we're talking about a secondary that is not the preferred group, right? Went out there and got it done. Number 3, and this somewhat ties into what I just talked about at number 2, but I want to expand here more holistically on the defense. Number 3 is they made the Steelers earn everything. 23 first downs, 364 yards, but 3 points. 3 points. Pittsburgh was 5 of 18 on 3rd and 4th downs combined. The Bills forced the interception. Pittsburgh was 0 for 4 in the red zone. That's huge. 0 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. They did not allow the run game to get going. Pittsburgh had 17 rushes for 57 yards in this game. And you know they came into this game understanding that they had to play a clock control game and lean on Najee Harris. Well, the Bills said, no, you're not going to do that. The Bills dictated the terms of this football game. And the more often they can do that, they're going to have a lot of success. They said, if you're going to beat us, it's because your rookie quarterback did it. And the Bills forced 10 pass breakups. Elam had 1, Dane Jackson, Taron Johnson, 2 for Matt Milano, 4 for Saron Neal, and A.J. Epinesa also had a pass breakup. Your defense had 3 sacks. Tyrell Dodson, Von Miller, A.J. Epinesa. You made the Steelers earn everything while you're shorthanded, and you showed off your depth really on both sides of the football. I thought that was a great job by the Bills overall. So that fourth point is just kind of showing off your depth. Talking about this Bills team having a deep, talented roster, and it has been stressed over the first 5 games of this season. But the Bills are 4-1, and they've had so many different guys step up to get this team to this position right now. Also, real quick here, shout out to Coach McDermott. He now owns the best winning percentage in Buffalo Bills franchise history at 616. He passed Marv Levy at 615. Sean McDermott has a win percentage since 2019 of 698. Miss me with any of your thoughts about the Bills not having the right head coach and Sean McDermott. You can miss me completely with that. And look, maybe you're saying, Joe, like who says that? Take a look at my emails, take a look at my DMs, and you will see people that feel like Sean McDermott isn't the right guy for this football team. Well, nobody's won games at a higher clip in the history of the organization than Sean McDermott. He's phenomenal. Folks, I got to tell you about these Built Puffs. I talk all about Built Bars, the best tasting protein bars on the planet, but you got to try the Puffs. They're phenomenal. It is a protein-infused marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate, and it's delicious. And I'm not even a marshmallow guy, but they're so good. So many different flavors, and they're so healthy for you. They're low sugar, they're low calorie, but they're high in protein, and it's all that collagen protein that your body will actually absorb. So many great flavors that you can try. They've got the granola, they got the Built Bars, they got the Built Puffs, so many great products. Check out Built.com. See what they have. Use our promo code LOCKED15. You'll get a 15% discount on your next order. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON15 to take advantage of 15% savings on your next order. We all know when it comes to sports, teamwork is everything. Every player on the field has their role that contributes to helping the team win. And honestly, it's the same when it comes to game day snacking. Whether it's making the dip or bringing the chips, everyone has their role. And if it's you bringing the chips, let me tell you, I'm about to make you the MVP because Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips are out here changing the game. These are the best tortilla chips out there. My wife and I love them. We use them all the time, whether it's salsa, guacamole. We love artichoke dip, buffalo chicken dip. When we have chili, we love to have tortilla chips, and they're delicious. They're crunchy, and they're made to dip. You never have to worry about them breaking in half. So you're going to dunk them in guacamole, and you can be assured that it's going to handle that big old scoop of guac that you want on your chip. And I also love that they're grown from organic Flint corn in upstate New York. So be the hero of this week's tailgate and grab a bag of Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips at your local Wegmans. Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips, making you the MVP. All right, let's talk about some things I didn't like from this game. I know that's crazy, right? The Bills won 38-3. What didn't you like about it? Well, I got 5 different things written down here that I didn't like about it, and I think that's an important part of these conversations, right? Like, it's not perfect all the time. There's always things that you can bring up and say, yep, that didn't go well. It didn't, the greater scheme of things, I mean, they won 38-3. It didn't cost them, but there are times that stuff like this can cost you. And so I'm always going to point it out. I'm always going to be willing to look at this team objectively and talk about things that didn't go well. And, obviously nobody likes to hear about losses, and hopefully the Bills don't lose many games, but those are some of our most meaningful conversations when we can get together after a Bills loss and talk about it and break it down. Those conversations are a whole lot more meaningful than us just sitting here gloating about how good the Bills are. And I know that I've received some feedback that people don't necessarily like when I don't offer, all praise all the time. But that's the NFL. It's not perfect all the time. The other team gets paid too, and the margins are slim. So I say all that to say there's some things I didn't like about this 38-3 win, and we're going to talk about them right now. First of all, Taiwan Jones. I don't think he had a good game at all. He muffed the opening kickoff, and he's a guy that the Bills needed to step up, right? You didn't have your kick returner in Isaiah McKenzie. You said, Taiwan Jones, we need you to do this today, and he let the team down. He muffed the opening kickoff, and he set the Bills up to have the ball to start the game on offense from the 2. And that's not a great situation. And then on the punt return that Khalil Shakir didn't field the football, and James Pierre from the Steelers was able to down the ball at the 1-yard line, that was on Taiwan Jones. He was the jammer on the right side, and he did not get a good enough jam on James Pierre. And Pierre, who's a 4.3 athlete, was able to sprint down the field and down the ball and back the Bills up on their own 1-yard line. And that's a situation, again, where you have a young player in Khalil Shakir stepping in to be the punt returner, and he needed you to hit that block. So that way, he could not have to field it in a tough situation with a lot of wind and trust that the ball would get enough roll to get to the end zone. All of that happened except for Taiwan Jones didn't do a good enough job of getting the jam on the gunner. Number 2, Tyler Bass missed field goal. It was blocked. I understand that, but I don't like that, right? I don't like missed field goals. I don't like when they're blocked. I think that probably has most to do with, Tyler Bass kind of having to kick a low ball because of the wind, but he didn't execute the play. Number 3, I thought Josh Allen had 2 bad plays. I know we just talked about a historic day for Josh Allen, but he missed 2 throws. And look, I know that happens, right? I know that happens. That you can watch any game, any quarterback's ever played in the history of the NFL, and you can find 2 throws that they missed. But look, these are things that I don't like, right? You don't like when that happens. So Josh Allen had 2 bad plays. He missed Diggs on the touchdown pass. It was an outbreaking route against Levi Wallace. Josh did everything right. It was a great play call. He started his eyes left. He held that safety, allowed Diggs to be isolated against Levi Wallace, an athletic mismatch, put Levi in the blender, had a nice window to fit that ball in for a touchdown, and Josh missed the throw. And so the consequence there is you get a field goal instead of a touchdown. And at that point, it was, the game was still in balance. And then he also missed Gabe, the interception, right? I think he tried to throw a back shoulder throw. Well, Gabe had vertical leverage on Levi Wallace. You got to throw the ball over his front shoulder, right? That's a back pylon throw, not a front pylon throw. And he missed it and threw an interception. And we're talking about at that point in the game, it was 1st and 10 from the Pittsburgh 21. Like, you're approaching the red zone here. You're 1 yard away. It's a 10-3 ball game, and you didn't throw it to the right leverage. So amazing day for Josh Allen. I led off by talking about how great he was, but he had 2 throws I guarantee he'd like to have back. Number 4, did not love the Quentin Morris fumble on the shovel pass. That would have been Josh's 5th touchdown, a new career high for him. And I think it would have been Q Morris's first NFL touchdown. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but fumbled before crossing the plane. And then number 5, I didn't like that there was 5 Case Keenum passing attempts in this game. And not that, like, whatever, you threw the ball 5 times with Case Keenum, but we're talking about a 38-3 ball game. Your last 2 drives of the contest, I think you missed some chances to run the ball with James Cook. And I don't care if it was obvious rushing situations. James needs those touches, especially when it's going to be heavy boxes. Let's give him chances to navigate some tight quarters and show his physicality and show that he can kind of manipulate some tight spaces. It was a great opportunity to give him a couple carries, and they only gave him 1. So that was something that I didn't like. So I know I'm nitpicking here. I know the Bills won 38-3, but I had to come away with a few things to talk about here and things I didn't like. Let's reflect on my predictions and talk about what's next. The first prediction that I had was Kaiir Elam's first interception. We got it. We got that one, and a big shout out to everybody who tweeted at me. As soon as that play was made, my Twitter mentions were just blowing up with everybody complimenting me for calling that. And so big shout out to you guys for recognizing that and spiking the football for me. Appreciate that. I figured there was going to be some targets his way. I know Kair's got a lot of talent when it comes to ball skills, and so it was a good recipe, and he came through for me. I predicted a non-quarterback to throw a pass for the Steelers. That didn't happen. And maybe if it was a closer ball game, they would have done that, but it got away from them fairly quickly, and maybe they wanted to kind of hold on to some of that stuff. Number 3, I said the Bills would set a season high for rushing yards with 125, or they need more than 125. They need 126. They didn't get it. They finished the game with 120. They lose 2 yards on kneel downs. And then I'll go back to the 5 Case Keenum passing attempts when you should have had some rushing attempts, which would have got us over the 126 that I needed for this prediction to be right. So I was mostly upset with the Case Keenum passing attempts because I wanted James Cook to get the looks. But kind of an ancillary component of that is I missed a prediction when I had a good process as to why it would happen. Number 4, I said someone gets their first sack of the season for the Bills defense. Yes, that happened. Tyrell Dotson, thank you, came through. And then, of course, I predicted the Bills would win, and that happened in a big way. So the Bills are now 4-1. They're in first place of the AFC East. The Jets, the New Jersey Jets, they're now in second place after their win, right? They're 3-2. They beat the Dolphins 40-17. So now they're now in second place. The Dolphins fall to 3-2 with their loss to the Jets. And then Patriots, they beat the Lions 29-0 and improved to 2-3. So 3 out of 4 teams in the East win. The Bills take sole possession of first place, but I maintain, who cares? If you're in first place in the AFCs after 5 games, like, that's great. That's where you want to be. Nothing good about now. They don't give banners. They don't give you a home playoff game for leading the division after 5 games. So you're where you want to be, but you also got to stay there and you got to finish there. So a lot of ball game left and a big one next week. The Bills go to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Big game, right? Tiebreakers. You want to play home playoff games. You want to make the Chiefs come to Orchard Park and you not have to go to Kansas City in January. Well, you got to go get this one. It's a big one. And hopefully the Bills will have a lot of guys that they didn't have on Sunday for next week. You know, Tremaine Edmonds, Jordan Poyer, Isaiah McKenzie, all players you're going to want to have. Dawson Knox, of course, for next week. I'm going to the game, so I'm excited about that. Should be really fun being there. I've never been to Arrowhead Stadium, so I'll be there with some awesome people and taking in that game live and in person. So looking forward to that and looking forward to getting ready for it. So tomorrow we have Herd Mentality. Wednesday, our comprehensive primer on the Chiefs, and you get a chance to watch them. They play Monday Night Football. So if depending on when you're listening to this, it's Monday night. Get a chance to watch them. Obviously, the Bills have a rest advantage going into this game. And so we'll obviously do the primer on Wednesday, get you ready for it. We'll talk to Locked On Chiefs on Thursday for Crossover Thursday. So three good episodes coming your way. Of course, our typical Friday stuff as we get ready for Chiefs and Bills on Sunday. So make sure that you are subscribed. We'd love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your Victory Monday, and I look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow.